I'm watching the Brewers closely because this is not a team that has traditionally done big things at the deadline other than trading Hater. And this is a team with, as you said, Scott, an opportunity here.
FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal with us. Here's the big one that broke late. Ken, what do you think about Randy Arozarena ending up with Seattle?
Clearly, they needed offense. We all know that. They have been, for the last month, one of the worst offensive teams in baseball. So this was a move that they feel they had to make. And I believe I mentioned on the show the other day that just because they've had this horrible month, they're still right there in playoff position and they're not going to quit on the season. So this is a step forward. They're still looking for more offense, for a bullpen piece as well. They know that Texas is going to do things now and Houston is going to do things, and they are in an absolute dogfight. So this is step one for them. It's a big step, but I'm with Eric. I heard what he just said. There's no guarantee Randy Arozarena hits in Seattle, which is not a great place to hit. And there's no guarantee that that lineup suddenly ignites just because he's getting there, even though he has been much better of late. So if I'm the Mariners, I want at least one more bat.
Does this piss you off that these trades happen at 12 o'clock, Ken, or are you just like, I'm not sleeping from now until next Tuesday?
I don't think like that, Eric. It doesn't bother me one bit. It's just the way it is this time of year. Honestly, I mean, you can't get upset like that. That's silly.
Do
Hey,
you stay
Ken.
awake, though, and wait for these calls?
Yeah, of course he
Yeah, I
does.
do.
Yeah. Kratz, he's a veteran here. So, okay, you said the Mariners hopefully add another bat. Any names in mind? And then on the other side of this, what's going on? Are the Rays about to completely sell, or is this just a little dance? And are they taking advantage of a seller's market?
I don't have any names on the Mariners. Obviously, there aren't a lot of names available. Not a lot of great hitters out there right now. And that's a problem for Seattle. Now, as for the Rays, my understanding is that it is not a pure sell situation, that they are going to do some things that would be interpreted on the buy side. Now, you might ask me, what's that going to be? I don't know. But I would expect, or at least I understand, they are getting a lot of interest in Eflin. And that's a guy that could go still, but they have starting pitching to supplement him or supplement their rotation with if he goes. I would think now with the Arozarena gone, you need some offense back. You need to get an outfielder perhaps. But this is a team where until Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern hits, we will not be able to judge because I think they're going to keep doing things.
Let's skip over to AJ Puk. I mean, this guy has been really good from the left side. I remember with the White Sox, I played with him for a little bit. You know, we didn't really know what to expect. And now all of a sudden he's come out of nowhere. He just got traded. Talk a little bit about what he brings to the table.
Well, he's a really good reliever when right. And it's interesting the Diamondbacks kind of jumped out with this move because they've been quietly getting better. They've been improving, and they feel that they needed another reliever. And Sewald has had his difficulties of late. With Puk, you add another leverage guy to the back end. Now, they gave up an interesting prospect, this Davison De Los Santos. He is one of these polarizing guys. Some people love him. Some people don't think he's going to be anything at all. So I get what the Marlins are doing. And the Marlins are really interesting, too, guys, because their entire bullpen is available. Not just Tanner Scott, not just AJ Puk, even the guys under longer control than Puk is, and he's got 2 more years left. So this was a really interesting move, and for the Diamondbacks, it definitely signals what they want, which is to get back to the World Series again.
Yes, and I meant to say that I played against him, not with him. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I was a little confused there.
Excuse me.
There you go. But no, ever since
Yeah.
he went, Ken, you know, I know he was trying to start again this year, and it just didn't work out for him. He goes back to a relief pitcher role. Do you feel like, I mean, for Miami, it was kind of an underrated arm that we weren't talking enough about because he can pitch high leverage scenario, obviously, for Arizona with Ginkel and Sewald. And then also, what's next for the Marlins? I mean, it's not just Tanner Scott. It seems like there are a few other bullpen pieces that could go there as well.
Well, certainly that AJ Puk situation was a little unusual this year because they started him in the rotation. And they tried him as a starter. It didn't really work. So that kind of, I don't know, disrupt is the right word, but it kind of tinkered with his season a little bit. Now, as for the Marlins, who might be the next to go, Jazz Chisholm Jr. certainly is in play. He's got a number of teams interested. He would be an interesting guy in Seattle as well. And You've got Tanner Scott. We mentioned him, the closer. Trevor Rogers, a left-handed pitcher. Some of the other relievers that are not as famous as they say in baseball, but I expect them to be really busy sellers. That's what Peter Bendick's mission seems to be. That's what his desire seems to be. Just bring in a lot of young talent and see where it goes.
Can you break down the Phillies Orioles trade and how it's going to maybe be a stepping stone for what's to come with these teams? Or is this how both these teams are just going to move the rest of the deadline?
No, it's a stepping stone for both, and it's a first trade for both. The Orioles still need a starter. I would not be surprised to see them add another reliever in addition to Sir Anthony Dominguez, who they just acquired in this trade. And the Phillies have been looking for a right-handed bat to go in their outfield. Austin Hayes can be that guy. There was some talk about Lane Thomas. Austin Hayes is kind of a similar player. And with them, they retained their prospects, their better prospects. So if they want to get a reliever, they can do that. This trade was major leaguers for major leaguer, and we're going to see more of that, I believe, because the sellers, there's just not that much that they have to offer. And in this case, you see the Orioles get another outfielder in Pache, they get a reliever in Dominguez, they give up an outfielder in Hayes, and it kind of is a first step for both those clubs that are still looking to do more.
Ken, a follow-up for you on the Orioles. I know you wrote about how the ownership sale is kind of getting completed, and that'll give even more leeway to just do what they want to do. Mike Elias, from David Rubenstein. But then also, I thought this was interesting in your trade deadline watch article in The Athletic with Katie Wu and Patrick Mooney, that they won't rule out a reunion with Jack Flaherty. I know some fans, and they've had Tanner Scott too, but some fans, I remember when I brought that name up, are like, oh, no, we had him. It didn't work here. I mean, pitchers are different on a year-to-year basis. Can you explain to everyone why it could still make sense and Jack Flaherty could be pitching in big games for them if that ends up happening?
I don't expect them to be the high bidder here. Jack Flaherty is a rental. They really need controllable guys. That's what they need in their rotation. Corbin Burns, I know they have new ownership. I know their fans want him to stay. I'm sure they do, but I would not count on that. Scott Boras is the agent. They're going to go for top dollar, and I don't know that the Orioles are going to be willing to pay top dollar. So Jack Flaherty as a rental, yeah, it fits great for this year, but I don't know about beyond that. Now, the question you asked, Scott, is a good one. When the Orioles acquired Flaherty, they knew that he had already logged a number of innings after not really pitching much at all for the previous 3 seasons. It was a thin market. They took what they could get. Flaherty was the guy, but they weren't surprised that it was a bit of a struggle for him there. I think his ERA was 6.75. They know now he's pitching the way they envisioned him pitching at his best, but they knew at the time they weren't necessarily getting his best. So it wasn't a situation like so many that kind of turns sour when a player doesn't perform. They liked him there. It's just that it wasn't necessarily the right timing.
Let's skip over to the Pirates a little bit. Talked about how Brian De La Cruz and Jazz Chisholm, they're looking at both of them to help them out in the wherever. Pretty much, Jazz can play pretty much anywhere, but outfielders, both of them are really good baseball players. Do you see the Pirates making some moves not only for these guys but for others as well?
I don't know if it's going to be those guys, Todd. I do know they're interested in them. They've been tracking them. But from what I'm hearing, the Pirates are going to try to do some things here. Now, what that equates to remains to be seen. Those are two that they're certainly interested in. But as we saw today, and this is a good example and something people really, no one had linked the Phillies to Austin Hayes. No one had linked the Orioles to Sir Anthony Dominguez. These things generally come as a surprise to us. Randy Arozarena to the Mariners, not such a surprise. That was something that you could really see. But a lot of these moves, you can't predict what they're going to happen. So the Pirates, I'm sure, are looking at a number of things. They've got a hole in center field. Their production there has been horrible. They could do some things, perhaps, besides Jazz Chisholm to address that need. And I would imagine they'd want some bullpen help as well. So I do expect them to be aggressive. They should be aggressive. They've got a good team, and they've got a chance to, if not make the playoffs, at least build some momentum. And there's value in that too. I know teams don't necessarily look at it that way. They're just looking at their playoff odds. Oh my gosh, it's 10%. No. Move forward, get better for next year, and build some momentum going toward that goal. That could be a good thing too.
Ross Atkins just came out and said they're going to get better for next year by keeping Kevin Gausman and Chris Bassett. Is there a case where that's just a play in the media, or is that 100%, I mean, 95% what they're going to do, and they're just going to try again next year with the same crew?
Eric, always possible it's a play, and always possible they get a deal that they want, and Ross Atkins says, hey, we didn't expect to move these guys, but we got an offer we could not refuse. However, I don't expect that's going to be what the Jays do. It seems like they've been pretty adamant about this, not trading guys, pivotal performers under control beyond this season. They believe they can compete in 25. My suggestion would be trade people. And the reason is all of the guys that you just mentioned are a year older next year. And in Bassett's case, he's getting up there. Even Gossman, they're in their 30s. It's not like it's going to be forever for them. I'm not saying they're in decline or anything like that, but you could get something for them now. Vlad Guerrero Jr., you could get a ton for right now. And if you don't win next year, then what happens? Then Bassett, Guerrero Jr., and Bichette leave for draft picks? That's what you want? I don't see it being so logical. They're putting a lot of faith in a group that has not done it. A group that has been massively disappointing this year, a group that this decade is 0-6 in the postseason. They want to go that way. That's their right, of course, and I get it, but I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I think there's some other politics in play there where, jobs are on the line. There's a lot going on. It sounds like a Ken story right after the trade deadline. One more for you. Two teams, because I think it's happenings from this week. You've updated us on Yelich. He's going to do the rest in rehab. And then the Rangers are starting to make a little run as the Mariners have come back down to earth. So just curious for your thoughts on what the next few days could look like for both of those ball clubs. If they'll be aggressive, super aggressive, like they're both capable of winning a World Series. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say.
I'm watching the Brewers closely because this is not a team that has traditionally done big things at the deadline other than trading Hader. And this is a team with, as you said, Scott, an opportunity here. And are they going to part with prospects? Or are they going to increase payroll? Or are they going to be what they've usually been at this time of year, which is kind of a passive observer? Or actually, I shouldn't put it like that. I should say they've been not as aggressive as they should be. So that's a team I'm watching. The Rangers, I do expect to make a push here. And they see what is going on in the division. They've played much better. Best record in the majors in July, I believe. And they've got some guys coming back, too. Talking about Dunning and Molly and Bradford and perhaps DeGrom. That's the plan right now. So they've got all this going on. And I'm not even mentioning Josh Young and Evan Carter. They're coming back, too. So they'd like to get one more bat. And it could be right-handed, could be left-handed, probably an outfield DH type. But if they could do that, they'd be feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, the AL West race is going to be fun because it's 3 teams, 1 spot, probably no wild cards. So that's it. Ken, thank you so much. I know it's going to be a busy weekend. We're tracking everything. We appreciate you, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys.
Let's talk about a new perspective on performance apparel, and that is Viouri. I don't think we're going to be able to top the way that Alana and Ken praised the brand, a new partner that's here on FT, but we'll try our best right now because, Kratz, you're wearing a little Viouri action, so let's get your first response.
I don't know how else to say it. Like I don't have high-end clothing, and this is like the nicest shirt I've ever put on in my life. I came in the mail yesterday. Last night when I got back, I'm like, yes. I'm going to try it on. How good could it be? Like, it's built up. I'm like, how really good could this be? This is easily the nicest shirt that I've ever put on in my life. It is so, like, it feels so like just light and airy, and like I don't know how to explain it other than it's freaking awesome.
It is a fresh take on athleisure. There you go. So, what? I know you're putting your hands up. It's on you, dude.
AJ's in.
I mean, I don't understand.
.com/foul. What?
I mean,
AJ's wearing one too. He wants to go to you.
I mean, I don't even understand. Y'all don't even include me in these sponsorships half the time.
I want you to star in these sponsorships. I was not given the memo. I'm not sitting next to you today.
I mean, I got Viouri on. I wear Viouri all the time. I wore Viouri before Viouri was Viouri. Okay? So, listen. I mean, I ordered my extra Viouri yesterday, but I got a bunch of shirts, some shorts. My son rocks the shorts and the shirts. He loves them. I mean, they're good stuff.
So, FT fam, you see the code 20% off your first purchase at Viouri.com/foul. Everything is designed to work out in, but doesn't look or feel like it. So again, that's Viouri.com/foul for 20% off your first purchase. Viouri is an investment in your happiness, and you can get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet. Also, in addition to the 20% off your first purchase, you can get free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75 and free returns. Again, Viouri.com/foul and discover the versatility of clothing. And we're going to talk to Max Munn.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.